People are going to work harder for you if they like you. And you're going to, work harder for somebody else if you like them, right?
This is From Paint to Purpose, a podcast by FCP Services, where we believe people drive growth, exploring topics related to company culture, leadership, and construction industry insights. Now your host.
Welcome everybody. Today we have Nick Pino from Conic Staffing. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure having you. Can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. My name's Nick. I'm from Bloomington, living in Shoreview. Father of three. I'm a business development manager at Conic. Kind of got my career started in business development at a company called Optimize Software. I sold software, and then I got into staffing at a company called Aerotech. Spent 4 or 5 years there and ended up at a construction company for a few years. And now I've been here at Conic for about the last 6 or 7 months.
And you said Conic's more niche towards architecture, construction. I know in the last year that has completely changed because of COVID. How have you been up to industry standards and demands?
Sure. It was tough. COVID was hard on everybody. Construction industry, thankfully, was considered a, I forget the term, but a necessary business. I forget what the term that we were using, but, basically they weren't closing down construction companies like they were restaurants. Mm-hmm. So construction still kind of made it through pretty well. Things, did slow down, of course. If you think about everybody working from home, there was a lot less commercial construction, a lot less retail stores going up because people weren't going shopping outside of their houses, right? So the housing market stayed pretty steady. So, housing construction was okay. It was still down. Once we got through COVID, and I would say really about the last 3 or 4 months only, construction's really picked up. Architecture's picked up. People are... I think it's going to be huge for the next 24 months, 18 months, because everybody's going to want to leave their houses where they were stuck there for a year. People want to go shopping. They want to go out to eat. They want to go to people want to get new jobs, or they need to get new jobs. So construction is very busy. So the architects are busy. The engineers are busy on the back end. And, every construction company that I talk to, everybody's hiring. Everybody needs a project manager or a superintendent or an estimator. All architectural companies, the bigger firms are adding to their staff as well. So, it's been tough because the market is still hard to find good people. Everybody's looking for good people, but all the good people are working, mm-hmm. Where they're happy. So there's not too many people applying to jobs, which makes it tough. We can go a week or two sometimes with just under 10 applications coming through. So we're relying on our networks, relying on, going back to people we've placed in the past and asking for referrals. Thankfully, we've been doing this for 45 years. So we have a pretty good network, 60,000 or so candidates in that network that we kind of rely on.
So in those 45 years of history, how have you been able to grow as a business developer?
Sure. Well, I've only been with the company 6 or 7 months, but as far as this company, it was founded by George Conic. Okay. Again, about 47 years ago, I believe. And he ran the company, and his son, Brad Conic, joined the company. I'm going to get dates wrong, but it's about 26 years ago. And then he eventually ended up buying Prime Staff, which was basically a competitor in a friendly sense. We were competitors, but we respected each other. The ownership knew each other. So Brad ended up buying Prime Staff. His partner Tom as well. It is owned by Brad and Tom. They bought Prime Staff. We merged together. We became Conic Prime Staff. And that's where we're sitting today. So, the company, we're 13, 14 employees, through COVID, and before COVID, it was more like 6 or 7. So we have doubled, in the last 6 months, we've about doubled in size. And, our goal is to be over 20 employees by 2023. So
How do you hire for people that you work with so closely? What do you look for
So how do I hire the candidates that we're looking to
internally?
place?
Yeah,
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
someone.
Well, what's great is we have recruiters in our team that are very well tenured. So, I have 3 recruiters that have been on the team for 20 years. 23, 21, 20 years, something like that. So, they rely on their networks, right? I mean, you know, how we find a candidate could be through LinkedIn, through ZipRecruiter, Indeed, or again through our network of 60,000 candidates, right? So if we get a position for, let's just say, a plumbing designer, right? We might go
Mhm.
in our network and search everybody who's a plumbing designer who's already in our network, and that's where we start. So we're calling people that we've already talked to, some of these people we placed 10, 15, 20 years ago, and we're still staying in touch.
Nice. When it comes to networking, what's some of the advice you can give someone like me that doesn't really know how to network and is just starting to go
Sure.
and build that
Sure,
network
and
for
I love
themselves?
I love networking. I mean, I get a lot of my business by networking, going to certain events, and I always joke around. I like to what is it, shake babies and kiss hands. I know it goes the opposite way, right? But I always say
Right.
that as a joke. But I love to network, and it's hard, I guess, to give you a tip. I mean, you just have to get out there,
Right.
and you have to think of yourself as a brand, right? Think of yourself as Nike or a brand where you need to go out there and you need people to know what your brand is and what you stand for and what you believe in, right? So if you're very passionate about what you do, um, break that down into what makes you passionate, and trying to explain that to people and show that to people, right? For me, networking, I mean, half my conversations, 80% of my conversations when I'm networking are not necessarily business.
Okay.
It's getting to know somebody on a more personal level as well, and building that trust.
So what are your passions?
My passions,
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you, one of my passions and one of Connick's passions is our community.
Okay.
Especially over the last year and a half with everything that's been going on. We don't need to get into details, but obviously there's a lot of things going on in this community.
Hmm.
Um, so I do enjoy volunteering. I am a veteran of the United States Army, and I do work with an organization called Beyond the Yellow Ribbon, which helps takes care of veterans and their families. As far as Connick, and one of the reasons why I'm with Connick is that our vision is to positively impact people's lives, and not just the people that we're putting to work, or the hiring manager that we find a good person for, but again within our community. So we're working with homeless youth, underprivileged. We're working with, like I mentioned, veterans, kids with disabilities, and we're donating. We have 5 charitable partners, and we're donating $200 for every placement to these charities. And our goal in 2023 is to give away, I can't remember the number, but it's $250,000 is what we're looking to give away by 2023. And that's a passion of mine. And as far as outside of work, I mean, I like music and just being with my kids, and I enjoy golfing. And I'm going to be out there tonight. It's 100 degrees, so that'll be interesting. But
Very interesting.
it should be fun. Nothing better than sweating out on the golf course.
I've never experienced that, but we'll see how it goes. Are you a good golfer?
Oh no, gosh, no. I just said that like a Minnesotan. Oh no, no, no. I am not a good golfer, but I love to golf. It's just fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be times where I want to throw my club across the lake, but no, I have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super important. You were talking about your mission and the vision you have in Conic and how they align. Why do you think that's important?
Well, here's the thing, I guess. Like, a lot of people think about what they can do in their community, but a lot of people don't actually step up and do anything. And through the pandemic, just for example, homeless youth, through the pandemic, homeless youth actually, youth that do not have a comfortable place to stay. They might be couch hopping. They might, have places to sleep. They're not necessarily always living on the street, but they don't have a family. But that went down a lot during COVID, and a lot of people started volunteering too. But with that going down, and now with COVID over, homeless youth is actually going back up. And the reason why I think it went down is, I think a lot of families honestly maybe didn't want to kick their kids out on the street at that time or whatever. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's important because there is a lot of issues in this community that need to be resolved, and we're as a company, we're not looking to fix everything. We know we can't, but we know we can be a big part of it.
Yeah. What else do you enjoy being a part of?
A team,
Okay.
again, I'm a veteran, so growing up in the army and everything like that, I've learned a lot about teamwork, and um, I like to be an individual, but I like to be part of a team. I love sports, um, and working with my staff and my team at work.
So I'm assuming since you guys have worked together for several years and your vision aligns, was there a time where you didn't, or everybody didn't really know the mission, and then how did you get to where you guys are now?
Sure. Well, our mission is relatively new. We've
Okay.
always wanted to take care of each other, and honestly, of course, as a company, we all want to make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we want to take care of the people that we're working with and the people we're placing. Our vision to positively impact people's lives really just started, through COVID. So it is a new vision, and my owners Brad and Tom basically interviewed the company to see what's important to you. What do you want to see changed? What do you want to do? If we were to have a volunteer day, what would you want to go and do and help out with?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we ended up with the 5 partners that we have.
Why did you decide to become a business developer?
Well, I mean, it happened when I was working at a bar, and I was there
Okay.
for 10 years, and I worked my way up into being a friend of the house manager. I've always liked working with people. I wanted something new. I wanted to get out of the restaurant industry, and I wanted to be in sales. And
Mm-hmm.
because again, I like talking with people, and I saw an avenue there where I could possibly make money with a good career path. So I got into that software sales, was more inside sales. I got laid off there, and I got lucky where I found staffing. I kind of fell
Mm-hmm.
into it. I mean, nobody honestly goes to college or graduates high school thinking I want to work at a staffing agency.
Right.
It just kind of really just happens for most people that I know in the industry, right? And I know you said you've been in the industry, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you didn't graduate high school thinking, all right, let's go staffing, right? Let's go put people to work. Not too many people think that, but for me, I got into the industry because I wanted to be in sales, and I started as a recruiter, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to talk with people, and I saw the career path, and I said, hey, this is pretty rewarding. I'm not selling widgets, right? I'm not selling cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not selling ties and socks, right? Or printers and copiers. I'm selling opportunities. So it was a kind of a good combination of getting my foot in the door in business development, as well as helping people. And now I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to be at a computer typing away spreadsheets. I mean, don't get me wrong, I sit at a computer, but I'm also on the phones, and I'm doing things like this, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting out and doing. I mean, honestly, I'm doing uncomfortable things like this. Which is fine, right? But
Yeah.
which gets me out and about.
What advice would you give to new business developers, or just ones that are
Mm,
starting
well,
out?
don't it's tough. A lot of people, because this is a phone job too. Don't you're on the phones, right? And a lot of people get that reluctancy to pick up a phone and call somebody, because a lot of people have been on the other side of that phone where they're getting a call from a salesperson, and maybe you're annoyed or whatever. But once, do you remember that call? Do the next
Mm-hmm.
day, the next week, the next month, do you remember that person? You typically don't, right? So it was so you have to think about it that way when you're calling somebody and you say something, you make a mistake, or they shoot you down, or they might be rude to you. It's like, just forget about it and move on. And it is tough for a lot of people to do that. New business development people to do that,
Mm-hmm.
to get comfortable on the phones. It still happens to me sometimes where it's like, I could pick up the phone, or maybe I'll just shoot this person an email, right?
Right.
But you have to pick up the phone because people need to hear your voice, and they need to get to know you personally, not just through an email. But um, so just I guess my one piece of advice would be, just remember, like, if you make a mistake or they say no to you, or whatever, they're gonna forget about it usually right when they hang up the phone. They don't know
Right.
you personally, so don't take it personal.
Right. How do you stand out when it comes to trying to get a sale?
Sure, that's really tough because in this industry, there's a lot of agencies, there's a lot of staffing firms. There's a lot of competition. Luckily for me, I'm very niche where I'm only doing architecture, engineering, and construction. So
Hmm.
that does narrow down the playing field as far as my competitors, but I still need to stand out.
Right.
Especially hiring managers, they might get contacted 2, 3 times a week by different agencies. So what I try to do is I try to make it fun. I'm very honest with my approach. I'm
Hmm.
not trying to sneak around to get my answers. I'm very blunt and I just ask straight up. Just tell me, do you use staffing? Because if you don't, and then I won't bother you anymore.
Right.
I mean, people, oh, you won't bother me anymore. Oh yeah, we don't use staffing, right? Or then you can just get that conversation. And I try to be funny. I try to send creative emails. Funny subject lines. I mean, I've sent some really strange emails to people, but they respond like, "Wow, this is funny. Like this had me laughing. We're not interested, but thank you." At least they're responding, and
Right.
just trying to use my humor and all the dad jokes I've learned throughout the years to just make it fun, to make it like this, a conversation, not me just calling you and asking you for your business.
Right. So when you have a lot of people that are unemployed and you're trying to headhunt for them, how do you make sure they fit the culture of that company you're
Oh, sure,
hiring
great
for?
question, and that's very important. And first it's talking with the managers, and asking them what they're looking for and what their culture's like, and what do you guys do for fun? What's the dress code? I mean, just like simple things like that, and you know what is your company known for? What type of people are you surrounded by? I mean, um, getting to know the company is the best you can, right? There are a
Hmm.
lot of agencies that might, not really dive too much into that. We really get involved in the culture because, we know a lot of candidates are going to want to stay at a company where they appreciate the culture and they're liked, and everything. So, and then it's through our questions. Now, before COVID, it was all in person interviews. We'd be sitting across from somebody, asking them questions, gauging their responses, asking them some, quote unquote personal questions, not, personal as far as, hey, are you married? Things like that. But hey, what do you do for fun? What are your hobbies? What are your interests? What are your passions? What motivates you? What gets you up in the morning? And seeing if those answers kind of correlate with the answers that we got from our clients.
What is your favorite thing about your job and why? I know.
Getting out and meeting people. I like to go to like golf tournaments, and there's like clay shoot things, and there's I'm a member of the MCA, Minnesota Construction Association, member of the AIA, architecture. Man, I can't remember what AIA stands for, but it's an architecture group. We're members of the MA, Manufacturers Alliance, and they put on different events, especially pre-COVID. Now this stuff's starting to come back, but
Mhm.
lunches and happy hours, golf events, things like that. I mean, that's what I really like about business development. And I have relationships from 5 years ago when I was at a different company in business development that I still have today, even though I don't work at that company, right?
Mhm.
So it's just I joke around with my friends sometimes, and I say, "Hey, I recruit and I'm in sales because I want more friends." Not necessarily the case, right? I'm not literally like making friends with everybody, but it is kind of part of the reason why I like this job.
Yeah. Um, what are your plans for this year and what do you want to accomplish?
Well, this year's needs to be huge. We're in our best quarter ever in 45, 47 years we've been a company. So I want to continue to grow that. We have a lot of plans to add more employees, add more recruiters, add more business development people. This company, we've been around forever, but you can almost think of us as a startup right now because we're on such a high growth path.
Hmm.
We've just been voted, and I can't remember which spot. I want to say third or fourth. Um, you know, Biggest growing companies in Minnesota as far as revenue. So, we've had, more than doubled our revenue over the last year, and we're looking to keep doing that. I'll tell you right now what our numbers. I mean, basically, we made, roughly 5 million, last year, and with 2023, we want to be at 20 million.
Hmm.
So we're looking to grow, and I'm looking to grow within the company and move up into leadership roles.
What kind of leadership role are you looking
I
for?
want to be a business development manager,
Okay.
preferably, but or a strategic account manager, which should be basically working with our enterprise accounts or our larger accounts, just building relationships within those accounts.
Why do you think building those relationships is important to the future of your business?
Oh, easy question, because if you don't have those, if we're just a staffing agency and that's just some guy who staffs for me, it makes it easier for them to dump us, right? I mean, just being realistic. If we have those relationships and people like us and they know, hey, that's Nick Pino. Hey, how are your kids doing? How is Roman's softball or t-ball game? I mean, or I'm walking in there and I'm asking them about their family, and we know each other and we like each other. This might sound bad, but it's harder for somebody to cut ties with us if they know us more on a personal level. So the more people you know within the company, the better the relationships are. The better the partnership's going to be in the long run.
Nice. So, a business development manager sounds like a really important role. How do you think you'll be as a leader?
I think I'll be great. I mean, I've been in leadership positions.
Okay.
I've had people under me as an account manager where I've had recruiters recruiting for me. I mean, it's, the way I guess I run my team is typically as a team, not I'm on the top doing nothing and you're doing everything on the bottom. It's, I like to lead by example, not afraid to jump in the trenches, so to speak, with the people that work for me.
Can you give some advice to some leaders that want to become somebody like you?
Sure. I mean, we'll go back to kind of where I think a big theme of this conversation is about relationships and building those relationships with the people that you might be in charge of, not just on a business level, but on a personal level. Again, people are going to work harder for you if they like you.
Right.
And you're going to, work harder for somebody else if you like them, right? So, just getting to know your team. You're not just, maybe don't consider yourself a leader, consider yourself a mentor in a way.
Did you have any mentors while you were becoming what you are now?
I guess so. I mean, there is a gentleman who got me into the business, who, got me into sales, who gave me an opportunity, but I don't, there were good people at Aerotech, and there's good people at Conic, and there were good people at Jail Schweeters. I mean, every step I take, I listen to the people who have gotten there before me, because they're there for a reason. So as far as like a specific mentor throughout my life, I wouldn't really say I have one. It's just really every stop there's people that I utilize their knowledge.
What are some of the best examples that some of your mentors have given you to become who you are now?
Sure. I mean, it's really just tactics and strategies. And, I'll give you one. It's a silly example, but it's just the first thing that popped in my head, right? And it was from a former director of mine. And, he told me how a story about, he had bright red hair and glasses and short guy. And, he would draw on his business cards a stick figure with red hair and glasses. So, if he was just dropping off a card and you're like, oh, who was this guy again? Oh, he'd look at it. So I kind of was like, well, I'm going to do something silly like that. So I copied his move and, and did that. It's a weird story, but it's like, again, it was something that was making you stand out just a little bit and just showing, I'm not just a sales guy. I have a sense of humor. I like to have fun. And yeah.
Did it work?
Well, I don't know if it necessarily worked. I guess nobody really called me and said, hey, are you the stick figure guy? But yeah.
So how can our audience connect with you if they're interested in?
Sure. Well, I guess, our website, man, we just got a brand new website. So I believe it's called conicnetwork.com, but you can Google Conic. It's Konik. You can find my email and my phone number on that. My name's Nick Pino. That's Pino. My email is npino@conicprimestaff.com, or call me directly 612-449-4271. You can find me on LinkedIn. I have a pretty large presence on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nick, for being here with us today. I really enjoyed this. Yeah, and if if you have anything else to say, now's the time.
No, I mean, I appreciate you having me. I mean, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and I thought this went well, I guess, right?
Yes, it went very well.
I don't think I said anything that my owner Brad or Tom are going to be mad at me about. So I didn't spill the beans, because I'm not going to spill the beans. I don't know, but we do have like a big announcement coming up in the next couple weeks about our company. So stay tuned for that.
Nice.
I'm not going to spill the beans, but yeah, no, I'm happy to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening. To learn more, visit fcpservices.com. Until next time, remember, people drive growth.